Peace for all. Oh, I had something in my head, so go ahead. It means as 0-volt switching in a system which is in resonance, an LC. We have always this sign. Okay, what it means. Where we have to switch the transistors on and off. Here switch on, here switch off. Okay, this is the on time, and the timing is really important to turn it on in the perfect time. Here on 0 crossing, where the voltage so like here at the very beginning, we turn it on here, turn it off, the MOSFETs there. Oops, sorry. Okay, this is the T on. T on, T on. How to make it possible without any integrated circuit? First of all, achieve the resonance. So take a look at that. I've got an idea, so I try my best and figure it out and figure it at the paper. So I had something in my head, so let's go ahead. There it is, the very basic schematic of the self-resonance stuff. This is the ferrite ring, ferrite core. This is her main coil, the resonance coil. Let's say a millihenry or at least 500 microhenry. Okay, 0.5 to 1 millihenry. Okay, milli, that's milli, not micro, that's milli. Many people don't know it. So, and then comes the trick. Here's a cable. With that cable we are connecting the condenser, the series coming condenser. But let's make a trick. So this is the connection between the coil, the resonance coil. This is the connection, it's a cable, okay? And here comes the resonance capacitor, condenser. And there it occurs the 0 point. Look at that, where we have to turn on the transistor, the very 0 point will be here. We will measure here. When they make the resonance sign, the 0 point, exactly there between the coil and the capacitor, the condenser. I hope you can image it in physical world. So it means as we can take this through a mini ferrite ring, and we can make a voltage step up, voltage control coil. That's a voltage control coil. Okay, let's zoom it again. Voltage control coil. When we will come to the 0 point, again I show you the 0 point. We will come to the 0 point, or we begin with 0 voltage in the system. After the 1 cycle of resonance, we will come again to 0 point. We can measure it easily here. How? In resonance, on all the way, there is some voltage. Okay? But where is no voltage? If we measure it here, the 0 voltage, we can exactly measure on that coil. It's like a pickup coil, okay? So 0 ampere and 0 voltage. So let's say if there is voltage on that coil, then we turn off the MOSFET, and the MOSFET comes like that. This is the positive MOSFET, sorry, high and low switching MOSFETs, where the body diodes are conducting back the reactive power directly into the battery system. Okay, that's not a joke, that's a working method. Battery 100 volt, for example. That's not joke. That's not a joke. Past Jesus, because that is not easy to find it out, work it out, and explain it in English. Be brave and clean. Inspirito. Negative of the battery. C resonance. So if we would like to be really exact and turning on the MOSFET by the exact 0 point, we must use something like that without any integrated circuit. In my last video I have shown you the solution, how to bring it in self-oscillating, self-tacting mode without integrated circuits. Okay, you can see that method, the principle, my idea. Should try. And Yeah, if there is voltage, we turn off the MOSFET. If there is no voltage, we turn on the MOSFET. But wait, because there is really important, and on that point we have positive and negative cycles. So 180 degrees positive and 180 degrees negative cycle of the sine wave. Okay, on the positive, here, or better, yeah, here we have to activate the system. Okay, and on the negative cycle we have to deactivate the system. Why? Because we don't want to turn on the MOSFET on that point. Maybe the low side switching transistor. Maybe the low side. So okay, let's say in that case, because we are using two of them, not only one transistor but two pieces of MOSFETs. Okay, so let's say we turn on the second, the lower. Okay, low. This is the high. We turn on the lower MOSFET, the lower switching here, and we turn it off somewhere here. Okay, here will be the turn on time for the low side. Of course, here also the very first turning on for the low side is here, and turn it off somewhere here. Yeah, that's like an impulse, like 30%. Okay, so this is the T on. Low. Okay, this is the T on high. Of course. Fine. Capito? Okay, let's say then we must have diodes on that. So we make two separate ways. One way for the high side switching. For that we will use two diodes. Okay, when the sine wave comes like this, okay, then, or it begins at 0, of course, then zoom moment. Then we are opening the high side. Okay, and to be able to achieve the impulse like state, we should put a condenser in series. I am finding it out now otherwise. And yeah, like that. The pulse will come, pum, like this, turned on. And to hold that voltage we need another condenser. And then here comes the T on, the turning on time, the voltage of T on, something like that. And for the negative cycle we are crossing that, taking opposite direction two diodes. Here also, here the positive. Can you follow me? For that cycle here, for the minus, because this is able to turn the phase by diodes, so choosing the phase. So here is the series and the parallel condenser, and here comes the voltage of T on, positive, so T on high, there the T on high, and here the T on low. Okay, so the C1 is for the impulse, yeah, shorting that rectified power, shorting. And the C2 is for holding that voltage for a little bit longer time, but not too much, so you have to tune it. Of course we can use also some resistor, potentiometer, like that. Okay, so this is the impulse, and then the C2. The C2 is enabling for a little bit longer time. Okay, that. Yeah, this is the turning on time for the stuff. On the negative side the same. Yeah. Okay, this is it, I mean. Like that. T on. Fine. 0 volt switching, exact. Okay, the diode must be, oh, it's not important, it can be 0.23 volt or whatever, 0.7 also. Why? Because of course as lower so better, but why? Because there we have 1000 volt or 700 volt maybe, peak to peak. So let's say from, okay, a half peak, at least 200-300 volts. So that 0.6 volts to 300 volts, that's nothing, you know. 500 times higher. So the 0.6 volt is 500 times lower, smaller. That's nothing. Like that is like picosecondum or nanosecondum. It means nothing. It means something, but not really. So okay, let's say the open voltage of the diodes 0.2, 0.4 volts. Okay. Yes. Cold street life. So this is it. Zero crossing, zero switching method, analog. Of course you can use that voltage and take a totem pole MOSFET driver, okay, PNP and NPN transistors. So after that you can take two bipolar, two pieces of bipolar, and here it comes, positive, negative, input, some resistor. Oh, sorry, you cannot see. That's a totem. That's called a totem pole driver. It's not perfectly tuned, but this is the basic principle of a MOSFET driver. Okay, so if we have this fucking shit signal like that, you know, that's not an exact square wave, or because of the condensers other way. Sorry, the very first impulse is shorter, but then we have to charge. So okay, let's say the signal is something like that. That's not a square wave. With that you cannot drive a MOSFET. That will be hot. But this stuff here cleans up the signal like that. Okay. With that you are able to turn on and off a MOSFET. And you can tune that signal also, the opening and the closing time. So yeah, we need here also a pull down resistor. That's important because of the PNP. So if you put one more resistor to the power supply input, that is limiting the charging on time. So that is setting the charging on time. Okay, for example 3 ohm or 2 ohms, and then the turning off time can be shorter, but you can use also 5 ohms. Then the turning on time will be a little bit longer, so that side here will be not so quick. In some cases that is better for the MOSFET. Not too slowly, but not too quickly. So not like this, but also not like that, straight, boom. Okay. But by turning off time you must be much faster. By turning off it must be much faster. So how we can set it, the turning off? Wait, I show you. Turning off time we can set like, look at that, one more resistor, 2 ohm, for example. Yeah, so like that. By turning on we have 2 ohm or 5 ohm, plus 2, that is 7 or 4 ohms in summa for turning on time, because we have to charge all the problem here comes because of the physical principle of the MOSFET. Why? Because that has a gate capacitance between the gate and the source. That's a few nanofarad, you know. It's a high value of capacitance, about 1 to 3 nanofarad. That's a big. You have to charge it on quickly, but not too quickly, and discharge that capacitor. You know what I mean? That there is a capacitance, gate source. You have to discharge it, and quickly, like we need stronger pull down. So by turning off, this PNP transistor is activated and pulling down all the energy from the gate to the source, like it, short circuit, like a switch, burning all the energy from the gate source via this resistor only. So turning on 2 or 5 plus 2, that's 4 or 7 ohm turning on time, depends how you want to set it. Okay, by higher value the gate capacitance, the gate will charge slower. Okay, and the turning off time depends on that resistor. Discharge like that, discharge like that. Okay, so that is 2.5 times faster, or wait, not that is 3 times faster, in case when, and this is 5 plus 2, that is 7, and by turning on, and 2 by turning off, so that's 2 to 7. It's more than 3 times faster turning off time. Okay, okay, understood. Super, supito, vamos. So this is it. I could not sleep. I had something in my head, so go ahead. Yeah, peace and honor. Save us, Jesus, save us all.